Again, it just tells them the ugliness of people's hearts these days is everywhere.
This is Franky Rose's Think Tank. Here's your host, Franky Rose.
Hey guys, welcome to the Think Tank. So, what's happening in Lakewood Church, Houston? Let's take a look. It's just like, whoa. Let's see.
What happened here? Again, we're not sure if there are any victims. We do know that the Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez had tweeted out earlier that a deputy possibly shot a shooter who was inside the church, but we don't know if anyone else was shot in this situation. We did speak to a witness earlier, and we've shown you some of that interview that we had with her, saying that, you know, she was in that church with her family. They were all very afraid when they heard these shots ring out. She said multiple shots, and her family just hit the ground, terrified. I mean, just imagine you're in your place of worship. You're at Sunday church with your family, one of the safest, warmest places for so many people, and you hear gunshots ring out. She said they just hit the ground and begged for their lives. Like I'm sure they were praying. You were in a church, and they were just in a moment of fear, a moment of terror and anxiety. And luckily, you know, all of those people made it out safely, and we see, you know, several others who made it out safely. But what a terrifying situation to be in as a churchgoer, as anyone. And Tom, you know, I'll echo what you were saying earlier. It's
Parker, how we looking on fuel?
I've got a couple views up,
total,
so I will continue.
In 1 hour.
I'll continue to find the best information I can.
Yep, I'm sure there are. Parker, can we come up over the other side of the flags?
Whoa, unreal. So, do they have them or don't they?
Oh, you want the plate? Okay.
Whoa. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, no problem. Okay, let me see here. I've got a couple links. So, child shot between ages of 5 and 9. Shooter also shot. 4:30 preference, or sorry, press conference. Oh, reported at Pastor Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church in Houston. Responding to reports of at Pastor Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church in Houston, it appears the possible is down. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said. Gonzalez corrected an earlier statement, claiming it was a sheriff's deputy that had made that shot. Gonzalez said the department is continuing to assist in a methodical, thorough search of the complex. Whoa. Oh my God. Okay, thank you very much, P9.
Take a piece here. No running because it's not good running because it's dangerous. It's not bad. It's bad. Bad, yes.
Did you see anybody that fell down that looked like they'd been shot or anything like that?
Only my one sister. One sister fell down.
The one woman?
Yes, yes. So she is in panic. Yes, she is in panic, but. Oh, thank you, God, everything
I'm
is
glad you
okay.
got out. You had to take your shoes off, get out of there
Yes,
as fast as possible.
yes. I'm running on my shoes, but for a long time it's take it out because it's
So is this how we're starting football day? Wow. Thank you.
Okay, well, we had her on the phone. We'll try and reconnect with her in just a bit. Hang tight with us. Again, breaking news, a lot taking place here. We're working to get you as much information as we can to pass along. All right, we think she's patched in now. Let's try again. Aniele, hi, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. We understand you spoke with some people who were inside the church.
Yes, so I did speak with a family who said that they were here for the service. They got here early. They were seated. They had taken their kids to daycare already. They have several kids and an infant, actually, who was also in daycare. As you can imagine, they were extremely frightened when they say they heard several gunshots. They say they were all happening. They thought at first that the gunshots were part of either the band, because it came from behind the stage, is what they're telling me, that they heard the gunshots behind the stage. And then they realized that it wasn't music or anything coming from the band. And that's when he told his wife, hey, get down, take cover, take cover. So his wife took cover and he said, I'm going to go look for our baby. So he says he ran out of the main part of the church, and he ran out to try and see if he could get to his baby, but that they were locked and he could not get in. So he felt a little safer that they were locked, but as you can imagine, he didn't know where they were.
And Aniele, which service were they attending? Because we were told one service was just wrapping up, another one was getting started. There was an English-speaking service and a Spanish-speaking service, and we were in between the transition of the two. Do you know which one they were attending?
Yes, they were attending the Spanish service. They were attending the Spanish service. They said they had gotten there early, with their kiddos ready. They said, to obviously come and celebrate their son. That, the most was that they couldn't get their kids for hours. And I think when they picked up one of their kids, he said, Daddy, that they were locked in the bathroom for a long time.
Yes. That seems to be what we're hearing from other families too. We heard from a little boy who also shared that he and other children from Sunday school were hiding in the bathroom. Aniele, was he relocated with his children, and about how long did that take?
He said it took over an hour, and they actually just got their infant right now, like minutes ago. He said that was the most nerve-wracking thing, is that nobody could tell him where his infant son was. And so that was for him and his wife. As you can imagine, they were coming out here in tears, hugging their baby, kissing their baby once they were given their infant baby boy. But as you can imagine, they didn't know what to expect. They didn't know what happened, and they just wanted to hold their babies again. And so a very emotional interview that I'll, of course, post on our Twitter page for you guys to see. It is the families are out here. Like I said, they did these interviews in Spanish, and still very emotional, still trying to figure out what happened here. But
Still very, very active. Hey, Shauna. Hello, Jonathan P9. Oh, my goodness, Perry, Pam. Good to see all of you guys. I see Dandy in there. I don't know what the actual hell here. Now, this sounds like this is seriously going on in a church. Oh, my word. Unreal.
You see his eyes get real big there right after he hears the initial round of gunshots, then seems to look away from the camera, looking back behind him. As soon as you hear those gunshots, guys, in that video, you see people sort of start to run. and flee apparently down an escalator. That is video we're getting from inside Lakewood Church of the moments right after that shooting unfolded. Now, after these types of incidents, as they unfold, our team starts coving and scanning through scanner traffic, those communications between law enforcement as these scenes unfold in real time. Our producers here have sifted through a lot of that traffic early, and we have a clip to play you of that police response communication between agencies. Take a listen.
Where are you at? Lakewood Church. Lakewood Church and Ralph. These units at Lakewood Church. Active shooters.
Now, two quick thoughts on what we just heard there. If you pay attention, you listen carefully, I'm not sure if you heard it, you hear gunshots in the back of that communication as law enforcement is responding and calling in for backup. You also hear an officer there saying active shooters, plural. At this point, we should note we are only aware of one official shooter, that information coming from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. But as you guys have mentioned throughout this coverage, this is a Houston Police Department scene. We hope to hear from them in about 9 minutes at 4:30, where they will hold a press conference. Chief Finner, the mayor, and everyone who's responded will be there to brief us on what's unfolded here today.
Wow,
Guys,
troubling to see that video. Marcelino, thank you. And as the witness said earlier, describing to Jason Miles, the woman said it sounded like tables collapsing. That's exactly what that gunshot
And mechanical
sounded like.
equipment. Someone said they thought it was mechanical equipment, which makes sense because if this took place behind a stage, you would think that. So it took a moment for it to register for everyone there in the church what was going on. Jason Miles outside the church. Let's join him now. Jason.
Yeah, we've heard it sounded like something mechanical, to balloons popping, to collapsible tables being put up. Alexander and his son Aaron here were inside the church when all of this went down. Alexander, describe what you heard and or saw.
We're sitting on the front stage when we hear the guns. And I told my family that get it down on the floor because, you know, that's what I learned for people and shootings, you know, things like that.
Aaron, I suspect you never thought it would happen here.
Yeah.
What did you hear?
I just heard a bunch of gunshots, and then I just saw people running.
How many would you say?
Like gunshots? Like 10 to 12.
That many?
Yeah.
And immediately, did you think it was gunfire, or did you think it was something else?
I didn't think because I just saw people running, and then I just start hearing the gunshots.
And fortunately, you and your family are okay, right?
Yeah.
Did you see a gunman or anything like that?
No, we don't see it. We don't see it, but we just hear. Yeah, you know, because a lot of people are running. You know, I think, but I don't see it. You know.
I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad your family's okay. Scary situation, huh?
Oh yeah. You know, we can die. We can die and, you know, involved in those things. Yeah. I try to, you know, survive. Told my family that get on the floor. That's it.
Will you be back to Lakewood?
Yeah. We do. You know, it's the house, God house. You know, supposed to. Where we try to be out of the bad, you know, things that we do, you know, that's where we're trying to get into the good things.
Alexander, Aaron, thank you for your time. Among the congregates inside Lakewood today, when shots rang out, they evacuated, and we're standing in between those two mirrored twin towers, if you will, inside Greenway Plaza. For those of you who are familiar, this is where families are being told to come out after they leave Lakewood Church. Obviously, many of them hunkered down in various rooms, made their way over to a connecting parking garage. Now they're being told to come out here to Greenway Plaza outside.
Here. Governor Abbott says our hearts are with those impacted by today's tragic shooting and the entire Lakewood church community in Houston. Places of worship are sacred. I have been in contact with Mayor Whitmire and offered the full support and resources of the state of Texas, including Department of Public Safety officers and Texas Rangers, to help this community and help bring swift justice to the criminal who committed this heinous act. Join Cecilia and me in praying for this community during this difficult time and for the brave men and women in blue who acted quickly to respond to this tragedy. Statement from Governor Abbott this afternoon, posted just over 5 minutes ago. as this remains a fluid situation. And I will add, in addition to the men and women in blue, the men and women who also are the first responders in the Houston Fire Department as well, on the trucks, in the ambulances. They also are saving lives. We saw an ambulance take someone who was on a stretcher being loaded into that ambulance. Hard to see through this imagery, but we're going to guess that that ambulance has conveyed whoever that victim was, whatever their injury may have been. We don't know that they were shot. They could have had any number of emergencies, but being cared for and treated and probably taken to the medical center. We also note that Constable Rosen from Precinct 1 noted that a child was shot. We do not know how injured that child was. A child between the ages of 5 and 9, according to Constable Rosen. Okay, bear with me for just a moment while I'm getting words and directions in my ear. I want to complete this thought about the child victim here. Constable Rosen says the child was shot. We do not know the extent of that injury. Any shooting injury is terrible to anybody, and especially unthinkable for a child. But we hope and we hope. We can't presume, we hope that the child is injured only and is in great hands. I'm told we can get to Abigail Dye, but I'm looking at her camera right now and she's not quite ready. Will be momentarily. Yeah, as they are setting up and getting ready for that news briefing that we are expecting in just a few minutes. Before that happens, Abigail has been kind of milling about there. Abigail, what additional can you bring to the conversation here?
Well, we just walked down Richmond, from Timmins and Richmond, down further toward the church. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of what's going on here. We have fire personnel here. We have EMS. We have police. We have deputies. We have a very large, sprawling scene all over here. And we're actually, it looks like this press conference is going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and get set up on this real quick.
A little tight, but I think we can fit you in right there.
Oh my God, a church?
Maybe not. Oh.
Wow, this world, you guys.
All right, that should be okay. Then I will re-clip to this, which it has not wanted to stay on. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay, as long as nobody touches it, I think we're good. All right. You're welcome. Phone's on silent.
All right, we are watching
Houston, Texas.
this lectern where the police
Well, I'm
briefing
just
is
outside
expected
of
to begin
Houston,
at
Texas.
any moment. This is a typical process. If you've never been to one of these things where all the microphones get attached to the stand there, and going to check levels to make sure that everybody's microphones are working correctly. And this is where that briefing will happen. Again, we're expecting it really. They said 4:30, so.
Oh, I'm so much like you, Chopper.
They are
Yeah.
very close, fingers crossed, to being on time with this. We
That's
have
my
all sorts
zoo.
of questions. And I don't know that all of those answers are going to come in this initial briefing. But while we have spent the last couple of hours talking about what we think has happened, law enforcement will be able to tell us from an official point of view what they know so far and what they don't know yet, what they're still working on, trying to clear this scene.
Vic, do you need me to do a mic check? You got it switched over to headset? Okay. He said he was going to do it at 4:30. But he's not waiting for you. He doesn't want to.
Still waiting for this press briefing to begin. It will be momentarily. That is Lakewood Church there in the background. We were looking at this view from Skyfox.
They're in the briefing right now, so as soon as they're done, they should go. But I don't have like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. My mic just go down.
That is the western edge of the church, to give you some sense of the view from the ground versus what we were seeing from Skyfox earlier. Okay. While we are waiting for this to begin, Ruben Dominguez has arrived on scene, and he is, I believe, on Richmond. Ruben, what do you know?
Check. Last chance. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, we're at Richmond at Timmins, and we're just probably not even 100 yards from Lifetime Fitness here, just on the other side of Lakewood Church. And as all the Fox 26 viewers that have been watching our coverage by now know, that there was a shooting at Lakewood Church just before the 2 o'clock service. I talked to a young man who was physically in the church. He had just gone to his seats with his wife. They were pretty close to the front of the stage when he heard the shots being fired. Hey, we're going to go back to Tom, I'm being told right now.
Mayor of Houston, Texas, today. Unfortunately,
Houston Mayor John Whitmire, let's listen.
To report on the tragedy that occurred just before 2 o'clock at Lakewood Church as they were in between services. I'll leave the details of the first responders' reaction in a timely fashion to the Chiefs Finner and Chief Pena. I want Houstonians and surrounding communities to know that the first responders are doing their job in protecting the public, Houstonians, and surrounding communities. I also want everyone to know that this is a perfect example of the collaboration between departments. It's exactly what we've been calling for. HPD, constables. I could just go through a list of multiple agencies representing their agencies in a very responsive way. We want to give our condolences to Reverend Osteen and his congregation. It's unfortunate on the day that we want to attend church, watch America's #1 sports event, we find ourselves gathered here to respond to this tragedy. We want Houstonians to know that they are being protected by their first responders. We want to thank the Houston Fire Department for their quick response, the medical profession who is tending to one of the injured. So as mayor of the city of Houston, I want to assure everyone that everyone is at work doing their job. Let's come together on this beautiful day, a day that we're experiencing a tragedy. Let's hug our loved ones. When you leave here today, go hug your loved ones and say a prayer for those that are involved. Say a prayer for those officers that had to drop this suspect. They're suffering right now. And all these other first responders that I'm surrounded by, they're doing their job so we can be safe. At this time, let me yield to our police chief, Troy Finner.
Thank you, Mayor. Like the mayor said, and I think the most important message, before I get into details, is talk about the resiliency of our great city. And we worship together, we cry together, but we rebuild together. This is a tragic day to watch how we stand together. No suspect or suspects will tear down our city and our places of worship. Pastor Osteen is standing with us and all of our partners. And I want to thank them all, our local, our state, our federal partners. I just want to give some detail here, but pray for everybody that's involved. The victims who I'll discuss here, and the unsaid victims, those individuals that came here to worship today and had to witness this. But rest assured, in this city, we're going to stand strong and we're going to move forward. So approximately at 1:53 p.m., a female, approximately 30, 35 years old, entered the property on the west side here in the parking lot of Lakewood Church. She entered the building. She was armed with a long rifle and a trench coat with a backpack, accompanied by a small child, approximately 4 to 5 years old. Once she entered, at some point she began to fire. I want to compliment the off-duty officers who were working extra employment here. One TABC agent, 4 years of service, 38 years old. An HPD off-duty officer, 28 years old, 2 years of service. Both officers, the officer and agent, engaged, striking the female. She's deceased here on the scene. Unfortunately, the 5-year-old kid was hit and is in critical condition at our local hospital. There was a 57-year-old man who didn't have anything to do with it, I don't think, was shot in the leg. He's seeking treatment in the hospital. So let's all pray for each and every one of them. Once she went down, officers reported back to us that she threatened, that she had a bomb. So we searched her vehicle, our bomb squad, and also the backpack. No explosives were found, but she was also spraying some type of substance on the ground. So HFD came and the fire chief would speak briefly on that. But again, we're gonna stand strong. Again, I wanna commend those officers. She had a long gun and it could have been a lot worse, but they stepped up and they did their job. And I wanna thank them for that. As you know, when an officer's involved in a shooting, we conducted a criminal investigation, Harris County District Attorney's Office, and also both agencies conduct administrative investigations. That will take place. Both of these officers will, and the officer and the agent will be placed on administrative duty. But again, let's pray for everybody. And we stand strong here in Houston. I'll pass it on right now. Let me say this too. Places of worship. That's what they are. And that's what they will remain in our city. So it's just an opportunity for us to refocus and make sure that we all look out for one another. There will be increased patrols and a lot of conversation in our command posts with our federal partners and our local partners. We're going to increase those patrols in and around those religious institutions. And it doesn't matter which faith. We love everybody here in our city, and everybody's important. So let me pass it on to Fire Chief Pena.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mayor. First of all, let me thank all the agencies that are here with us. This is really a team effort, and our prayers are with, and our positive thoughts are with the injured, and with the officers that engaged this suspect. It's traumatic not only for our community, but it's certainly traumatic for the officers who've had to take a life, and we worry about their mental health as well. So our prayers are with them, and we're going to give them whatever support they need to ensure that they are able to manage through this incident safely. Kudos to the first responders. The Houston Fire Department, Police Department was here within minutes. We are now dealing with consequence management of this incident. Now that the threat has been neutralized, we are going to take our time to ensure that any issue, any risk that we see is properly vetted. We have our hazmat team on scene. You see behind us, you have decon units that are participating in collaboration with the Houston Police Department's bomb squad to ensure that we are looking at every aspect that may be of risk. Right now, I can safely say that we have not found anything that is of concern to our community or to this location. But we're going to take our time to ensure that we look at every aspect. Our hazmat team, our decon team, and our rescue team will remain on scene until needed, and we're going to collaborate in this effort. We did transport 2 patients. One, approximately a 5-year-old child in critical condition. They went to Texas Children's, and we transported a second male, about 56 years of age, with an injury to the hip. He, last I heard, he was in stable condition. Both are still in the hospital. The child is still in critical condition, and we don't have any further information as far as his status. But again, let's pray for this community as a whole. This is traumatic for everyone, every Houstonian, and these types of incidents are, unfortunately, something that we deal more often than we need to with. So, look, we're going to remain on scene. I'm going to pass this on now to.
Before I get it, let me before I bring it up. Yeah, really quickly. This is a light, an isolated incident. We believe at this moment. Okay, no further danger to our public, but we do want to conduct a methodical search of the building to make sure that nobody's in there, nobody else is in there hurt. So that will continue. We ask that the public stay away from the area and let us do our job on that. The reunification location for our parents or our family members is the Lifetime Fitness Center here. And if you come up, we'll direct you. Try to stay on the east side of the building, not on the west side of the building, and we'll get you reunited with your family members. Okay, Pastor.
First off, thank Chief and the Mayor and Chief Pena and all of these men and women did an amazing job. And it's just, you said it, Chief, it could have been a lot worse. Of course, we're devastated. I mean, we've been here 65 years and have somebody shooting in your church. But, you know, we don't understand why these things happen, but we know God's in control. And we're going to pray for that little 5-year-old boy and pray for the lady that was deceased, her family and all, and the other gentleman. But I don't know, it's just kind of in a fog, but, you know, just believe that, you know, we're going to stay strong. We're going to continue to move forward. There are forces of evil, but the forces that are for us, the forces of God are stronger than that. So we're going to keep going strong and just, you know, doing what God's called us to do, lift people up and give hope to the world. Again, I want to thank all these gentlemen because, you know, I can only imagine if it would have happened during the 11 o'clock service. We were in between services going into the Spanish service. So, you know, if there's anything good of it, you know what, she didn't get in there and do a whole lot worse damage. So we thank God for that. He's watching over all of us. And as the Chief says, we're going to keep going strong and bringing hope to the world. But thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm going to get Chief Gun 2 for translation in Spanish. Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
I've been listening to a police briefing from Houston Mayor John Whitmire, Fire Chief Sam Pena, Troy Finner, the police chief, Joel Osteen right there as well. Here's what we know, according to law enforcement. Just before 2 o'clock this afternoon, a woman walked in on the west entrance to Lakewood Church, armed with a rifle. She had a 5-year-old boy with her, and almost immediately started opening fire, saying she had a bomb, they said, according to her. There were some off-duty officers, a TABC agent and an HPD officer working off-duty security there at Lakewood Church. They responded immediately.
Entonces, aquí tenemos los expertos de las bombas, los técnicos. Aquí están asegurando que todo está bien, que no hay ningún explosivo. Al final, la señora murió. Un hombre de 57 años recibió un balazo a la pierna y el niño que trajo la señora también tiene un balazo y él está en condición crítica. Estamos rezando por el niño. La señora también tenía una mochila y todos se están esculcando. En este momento estamos seguros, bueno, más o menos seguros que todo está bien, pero todavía estamos en la iglesia esculcando para otras posibilidades de otros heridos o otras personas que tienen más información. Por este momento nosotros estamos asegurando que casi todos ya salieron y los tenemos aquí cerquita del Lifetime Fitness, en caso alguien quiere levantar las personas. Este ya no es un balaceo activa, tenemos todo en control. Todavía estamos asegurando que todo está seguro. Vamos a estar aquí entre toda más o menos de la noche. Estamos orando para todas las familias que están aquí. Esto lo que pasó es muy difícil para nosotros y para todos. Esto pasó en una iglesia, uno donde viene a tranquilizar, a orar para Dios, y vamos a continuar a eso. Vamos a asegurar que todos van a continuar a venir a la iglesia, y porque todo lo que pasó, los oficiales hicieron un trabajo excelente en esa cosa. Podía ser peor, pero los oficiales que estaban aquí hicieron todo lo que hicieron, y la señora ya no está. Entonces, es todo lo que tengo.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I want to emphasize that we appreciate our first responders. I want to emphasize what the chief said, that our place is important to emphasize. At this time, it appears to be a lone actor, but due diligence is being taken by all the first responders from all the multiple agencies. So at this time, I'll yield to questions to the chiefs.
No, it's preliminary investigation, and I don't want to speculate on anything. You can see our federal partners are here, our local partners, our state partners, everybody, and we're going to leave no stone unturned, but we're just at the beginning. It's still an active scene, so I don't want to talk about her motivations because I don't know, right, and we may never know the full story. But the important message is we're going to stand together as a city. We're going to stand with this church today and the pastor to make sure that healing begins immediately. But I don't want to speculate on anything else. Next question. Go ahead in the middle here.
Quick question. Is it the belief that those officers that opened fire, did they strike the child?
I have no idea right now. She fired. We don't know. And I don't want to speculate on that. But I will say this. If it was, unfortunately, and that female, that suspect, put that baby in danger, I'm going to put that blame on her. Okay? Next question. Go ahead.
Well said.
A little bit louder.
Child was with the suspect?
We do believe that.
Is that the child that was shot?
We believe that to be correct.
This used to be a compact center, a sports arena, as my understanding was like in the concession area and the round. It wasn't in the sanctuary, but in the.
I'm not sure. It's just over here on the west side here, just behind us. Okay, we'll get those details to you a little bit later. Go ahead, sir.
Can you say how many shots did the suspect fire?
I have no idea. Multiple shots. Go ahead.
Was there any explosive device or anything nefarious found in the
Nothing found. We're still searching the entire grounds. Okay, and if it is, we'll report back to you on that. Next question. Go ahead.
Did you find an ID on the woman? Was she from?
I'm not sure, sir. If today on this day, and I think it's very important for us to get before the cameras as quickly as we can, not competing with the Super Bowl and everything else. Let our citizens know that everything is good here, we're standing together, and we're moving forward. Go ahead. He's not. I'm sorry. Let me ask you one thing. I forgot to hold up. Hear me out. I forgot to say the pastor is not going to go with any more questions or anything today. It'll be a time a little bit later. So I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. I forgot to say that. Go ahead. Within minutes, sir. Within minutes, a lot of officers responded. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to speak to.
Any witnesses? There's so many. Thousands.
Yeah, that's part of the investigation, and we're going to talk to those witnesses. Some are still here, thank God, and they stayed back. So that's part of the investigation. One more with you, and then I'm gonna get over here. All right.
The child that was with this female, is it believed that they are related, like a daughter?
I don't want to speculate. I don't know. The only thing that we know that they arrived here together. Okay. Next question.
Do we know if the suspect arrived in a vehicle?
Yes. Yes, a white vehicle. Thanks for I failed to say that. A white vehicle. Yeah.
Can you any more descriptors on that vehicle?
Not right now. It's just a white vehicle that we did search that vehicle to make sure there were no explosive or anything found in it. Go ahead.
Is there an ID for what was sprayed on the ground?
We don't know yet. The fire department, as the chief Pena said, they're still evaluating that. All right, a few more questions. Go ahead.
If the child was the boy was the woman's child, what's the relationship?
I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let me get somebody that asks me a question. Go ahead, and then I'll come back to you. Go ahead. Speak up a little bit. Until we get through, and the pastor and his staff will make that decision. But it's going to be closed for now. I think that was the last service for today anyway. Okay. Who's next? Who hadn't asked me a question?
I was just wondering that other gentleman who was hurt.
Go ahead.
Was he just a parishioner happened to walk by?
I think so. I think so. That's what we believe at this time. It's shot in the leg. Okay. In stable condition. Go ahead.
An officer I spoke with earlier today said he was still searching for another male suspect. Is that not the case?
I don't think so. We believe her to be the lone suspect. If you can believe, with thousands of people in the church, when shots are fired, people run from that area. Some people may say he was a suspect, some not, but we don't believe that at this time. Okay. But anybody that ran away or seen anything, we're going to ask that they call HPD homicide, 713-308-3600. Even if you left the scene, we need to get a full statement of what you witnessed. Okay.
Were those officers wearing body cams at the time?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Chief, you said that after she was shot, the suspect said that she had a bomb, and did she say that spontaneously, or was she being questioned by officers?
I'm not sure. I didn't talk to her. That's just what's told to me, or we'll gather more information. I'm gonna do 2 more questions. Okay. Somebody who hadn't asked me thing. We good? Go ahead.
There's a female that's a suspect right now, and she's under investigation, or is she no longer with us?
She's deceased. Yes, ma'am. Thanks for asking. Go ahead. Last one.
Is that vehicle still here on scene?
Yes, it's still being processed. Okay, as part of the scene, and it takes hours before we clear the scene.
That church is massive.
We'll see. We'll see. We're very transparent here in the police department, HPD. So if we have footage at the right time, appropriate time, and if there's body worn camera, the officers will work an extra job. I don't know the policy for the federal agency, but we'll check with our officers, see if he had it. Okay. Hey, thank y'all. Let's continue to pray for everybody. Thank you very much.
Houston Police Chief Troy Finner wrapping up a police briefing outside Lakewood Church. Pastor Joel Osteen there, right in the middle of your screen there, as we try to make sense of what they say was a lone shooter inside Lakewood Church this afternoon. Constable Rosen there in the middle of your screen. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez there. Houston Mayor John Whitmire as well. All of them, almost all of them, taking a turn at the microphone to explain what they know, what they don't know. HPD, the lead agency here. We also see the FBI on presence. They have noted that they are not the lead agency here. They are here to assist as might be appropriate. But here's what we know. According to authorities here in Houston, just before 2 o'clock this afternoon, in between a couple of services at Lakewood Church, this one woman, described as being between 30 and 35 years old, entered from the west side with a rifle and a backpack and a 5-year-old child with her. She said something to the effect of she had a bomb and she started shooting. There were a couple of off-duty officers, one from TABC, one from HPD, working extra duty as security there. They engaged the woman immediately. They opened fire. She was shot. She was killed. That 5-year-old child, we believe it was a boy, was critically injured in the crossfire, taken to Texas Children's Hospital, being cared for now. 57-year-old man was apparently shot in the leg, taken to Ben Taub Hospital in the medical center. The woman also apparently was spreading some sort of substance around. Preliminary tests show nothing toxic about that substance. So encouraging news there, while they continue to do a methodical search of the facility. Skyfox continues to hover over the scene. Among those vehicles there that you see, we believe it's there, but perhaps elsewhere, there is also the vehicle in which this woman drove. It's still there. It's being inspected. It's being investigated. Police Chief Troy Finner says that's a methodical process that will take a considerable amount of time while they gather every single bit of evidence they can about who this woman was, why she did what she did, and what she may have done. I want to go to Fox 26's Ruben Dominguez. He is live not far from this scene as well, looking at one of our monitors off to the scene. Ruben is ready to go. Ruben, what do you...
Hey, Tom. Yeah, good afternoon to you. We're just outside of Lakewood Church. And as you mentioned, that press conference wrapping up, the mayor speaking about the multi-agency response and how quickly they got down here and their ability to work together. And arriving on the scene myself, I passed dozens and dozens of state troopers, Department of Public Safety, Harris County Sheriff's Department, EMS, and the scene given what went down, relatively calm outside of the church and the surrounding blocks. Right now, it's all a matter of continuing, making sure that nothing was left up in the building. We've seen EMS crews going in and out of Lakewood Church, fire and EMS taking care of that. But once we got onto the scene, we did have a chance to speak to a couple of people. Now, that 2 o'clock mass is a mass that is is a Spanish language mass. So a lot of the people that were there and that we were trying to get some sound with were primarily Spanish speakers. Only a few spoke English. But I did speak to one young man who described the scene that he was inside the church the moments that the shots were fired. So I'm going to try to translate as we play this soundbite for you all. Take a listen.
Apenas estamos llegando y pues la señora nos llevó en la primera fila y estamos ahí esperando que salían todo. Y
He
pues
says they had just arrived and were sitting very near the front.
Después empezó 2, 3, pues ahí la gente se entró en pánico. Y ya todos se agacharon abajo de la silla.
Everything was normal until shots were fired.
Sí, es una, como te dijera yo, se asustaron todos.
O sea, no había empezado la misa.
Todavía no. Todavía no. Apenas la gente se estaba llegando.
He says it was just before the church. Folks were still filing into Lakewood Church.
Pues ya rápido unos se acostaron donde están las sillas y todo, pues ya otros se subieron más para arriba.
He said the public reacted. Some were laying down on the floor trying to take cover behind their chairs. Dieron la notificación que tenían que salir de la iglesia.
Pues ya cuando la gente estaba
And I asked him when did they notify everyone to leave.
Que trabajan ahí, pues nos dijeron que todos salían para afuera. La policía nos dijeron que salimos en las salidas hasta los parqueos.
Pero usted y su familia, todo el mundo. He said that Lakewood Church employees and the police were instructing the people to leave the building. Yeah, so there you go, guys. A description of a pretty chaotic scene. He did go on to tell me that they were very frightened. He heard the first shot. He wasn't quite sure what that was, but several shots fired immediately after he knew that something was very wrong and made his way, out of the building, luckily with his wife, and were able to get outside. I did speak to another woman that had
Just unreal, you guys. Yeah, when was the last time there was a female that pulled something like this? And she brought her 5-year-old child. What? Oh, you guys, what the hell is going on? And then there's that football game, hasn't it started? Let's hope they stay safe. Oh, Lordy.
that to you and share it with the viewers shortly. Right now, we're live outside of Lakewood Church. Ruben Dominguez, Fox 26 News.
Ruben, thank you. And by all means, keep efforting that contact when you can get it. Share it with us. We certainly appreciate that. Skyfox continues to hover over the scene of Lakewood Church. That is the Southwest Freeway feeder road, just along the bottom of your screen, the front of the church, at the top of your screen. At this point, law enforcement, HPD, primarily the lead agency.
Not knowing if their infant son was okay. And they said it was really hard because they have other kids and they knew that those kids were okay, but they had heard nothing about that infant baby boy. But again, a lot of these families just kind of like feeling a sense of relief that they can finally leave and trying to go. But they do tell me that they're going to come back, that their faith in God is really strong and that this is not going to change how they feel about the church.
If ever they needed to lean on their faith, today is the day. Aniele Ruiz outside Lakewood Church right now. Thank you so much. It has been quite the disturbing day at Lakewood Church, a church of 65 years now, Joel Osteen tells us. They are now dealing with a deadly shooting that happened inside the church today, just shortly before 2 o'clock this afternoon, when a woman entered the church, 30 to 35 years old, with a child who accompanied her and engaged with officers. She was taken down by those officers. The child injured, and a 57-year-old man also shot and injured during this exchange.
We will continue to follow this story on KHOU.com. Of course, the Super Bowl on KHOU coming up at 5:30, and all the details on what happened at Lakewood Church tonight on KHOU 11 News at 10. We thank you for joining us.
Right here, with the doors open, the hatchback open, is the vehicle we were told that this woman, the lone shooter, drove up in to Lakewood Church. Drove up, parked it, got out, walked inside with a 5-year-old child in tow, and immediately, we're told, opened fire, saying she also had a bomb in her backpack. Responding officers, a TABC agent and an HPD officer working extra duty as security, immediately engaged that woman. We are told she was shot and killed right there. The 5-year-old child, critically injured in the crossfire, now being cared for at Texas Children's Hospital in the medical center. Chief Troy Finner saying whatever happened to that little child is the sole fault of the woman who brought the child in. We don't know that the woman was the child's mother. We can guess maybe, but we don't know. Lots yet to know. We have a number of reporters around the scene. I want to, as we look at this Sky Fox video, check in with Jade Fleury, who is in the vicinity
Makes
as
you
well.
want to be sick.
Checking in as best she can with people who've been affected
Nowhere.
by this.
Like,
Jade, fill in
where
the blanks
else
as best
can
you
you?
can. What do you know?
Yeah,
This
Tom,
used
we're
to be
here
our
at
safe
Lifetime
haven.
Fitness, which is one of the family reunification spots. I'm going to step out of the way here so you guys can see. There are 2 Harris County buses that look like they're transporting people away from the area. They look like they're about to get ready and roll out. Police still do have this area closed off. And we did speak to one woman who says that she heard those gunshots.
Lo único que me afecta a mí es la muerte de un niño. Es la muerte de un niño tan pequeñito que no tenía por qué pagar las consecuencias de gente adulta que no tiene nada que ver. Pero nosotros estábamos en el salón y empezamos a escuchar los disparos y eran más fuertes, más fuertes, más fuertes. Pero de ahí ya nos llevaron a otro lado y ya nos quedamos ahí hasta que vino la policía. Pero hay que orar mucho por esa gente que no tiene sensibilidad para matar a un niño.
Can you tell us what she said?
Myself, I passed dozens and dozens of state troopers, Department of Public Safety, Harris County Sheriff's Department, EMS, and the scene given what went down, relatively calm outside of the church and the surrounding blocks. Right now, it's all a matter of continuing, making sure that nothing was left in the building. We've seen EMS crews going in and out of Lakewood Church, fire and EMS taking care of that. But once we got onto the scene, we did have a chance to speak to a couple of people. Now, that 2 o'clock mass is a mass that is is a Spanish language mass. So a lot of the people that were there and that we were trying to get some sound with were primarily Spanish speakers. Only a few spoke English. But I did speak to one young man who described the scene that he was inside the church the moments that the shots were fired. So I'm going to try to translate as we play this soundbite for you all. Take a listen.
Apenas estamos llegando y pues la señora nos llevó en la primera fila y estamos ahí esperando que salían todo. Y
He
pues
says they
escuchamos el
had
primer
just
disparo.
arrived and were
Pensamos que era
sitting very near
normal.
the front.
Después empezó 2, 3, pues ahí la gente se entró en pánico. Y pues ya todo se agachó.
Was at a church on a Sunday, a day of worship. We have seen this so many times in places across the country and here
We
in
had
Texas,
just seen that one.
where worshipers found themselves face to face with someone with a gun who had some sort of grudge and decided that whatever their problem was, the only way to handle it was through this kind of violence. Among the many, many questions that will we'll struggle with, because we've tried to ask and we don't get answers real easily. So we will struggle with this one as well. What goes on in people's head that they think that this is okay. It's not. A woman is dead, struggling with some sort of demons. We don't know. A 5-year-old child with her, critically injured. We don't know. We don't know what will happen to that child being cared for at the Texas Medical Center, where great, great doctors are working feverishly, hopefully, to save that child's life. And a 57-year-old man shot in the leg, shot in the hip, being treated at Bentov Hospital tonight. That's what we know. Happened just before 2 o'clock, in between services at Lakewood Church. Let's go to Abigail Dye. She was right next to that press conference as it happened. Abigail, any observations that you can share with us, please?
Chaotic still. There are so many units, police personnel, and just so many people out here trying to piece everything together. I mean, luckily, it seems like the threat is gone. You know, police are telling us that the threat has been eliminated, but it doesn't mean that the work is over here. They still have so many things to piece together, so many questions to answer. We'll show you a little bit. This is right here where we had that press conference earlier. We have several law enforcement officers gathered up, and as we kind of pan left over the scene, you can see that we have fire personnel here. You know, we did have to transport those 2 victims, the 57-year-old male and that 5-year-old boy, to the hospital. 5 years old, or in that age range. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to think that something like that could happen at a church. And we are here on the west end of the church, where police say that the suspect entered the church. So if you look at the church from the west end here, you can see the big letters spelling out Lakewood Church. And we do believe that the suspect vehicle is over here just out of view behind some crime scene tape. And this is still a very active crime scene. Now, some other just interesting things about this suspect in this case. Police say that she did enter the church with a trench coat on. Just a very scary picture in your head there, entering the church with a trench coat on, a long rifle in hand, backpack on, and that young child in tow. And police say that at one point, we don't know if it's before or after she was shot, when she communicated this, but at one point she said that she had a bomb in that backpack. Now, police say at this point they haven't found any explosives, but they are carefully searching that vehicle, that backpack, the church, just trying to figure out where that threat came from. Now, again, that woman is now dead. Officers shot her, and that child was shot as well. And at this point, it's not clear what gunfire that child was hit by, because it is believed that the child who was hit was the child that she brought into the church with her. And so, like I said, it's unclear what gunfire this child was hit by, but police say no matter what gunfire that child was hit by, it is this woman's fault. I mean, it's hard to find a word other than evil to describe bringing a child with you to commit a shooting in a church on Sunday during a service. I mean, I had chills just thinking and talking about it. And like I said, I mean, out here, the job is far from over. We are still just piecing everything together. The motive is something that we will not know for a long time, if ever, because the suspect is deceased. And we have these law enforcement officers out here just keeping this scene calm, keeping it secure, and keeping it safe. Police assured us that their response was very quick. Within minutes, they were here at this church, and that suspect was down and the threat was mitigated. And again, we are still trying to figure out if there is an explosive anywhere. At this point, police say there's not. They've searched that vehicle. They are still searching the church. They searched that backpack, and no explosives have been found. We're not exactly sure why that suspect would threaten that, but like we've been echoing here, Tom, we're not exactly sure why any of this would happen in the first place. But again, very active scene here on the west side of Lakewood Church, where police say that suspect entered. and is now deceased with that 5-year-old boy and 57-year-old man in the hospital. We'll be sure to stay on top of this story and get updates on their conditions as soon as we have them. And Tom will stay right here on scene and continue to gather information for you. I'll send it back to you for now.
Abigail Dye outside Lakewood Church. Abigail, thank you. Check in when you can. This is the car that Abigail was talking about. We saw it earlier here. Skyfox directly over it. The vehicle that the woman, the shooter, drove in on. This is right at the curb. So she drove up, parked the vehicle, and walked in wearing that trench coat, the long gun, the rifle hidden underneath, wearing a backpack, 5-year-old boy in tow. Walked in, screamed she had a bomb, and opened fire. A TABC agent and an HPD officer, both working extra duty security at Lakewood Church, immediately were told, engage the woman after she started shooting, and she was shot and killed. This vehicle is being processed for any bit of evidence that authorities can find, and Chief Troy Finner says it will take a considerable amount of time for that exhaustive investigation into that. As we look at this last little bit of video from Skyfox, we're going to take a brief commercial break. We're going to regroup on what we know and what we don't know, what we can share and what we can't share. We'll be back right after this. Jade Fleury, thank you. We appreciate it. As you get additional information, please share it with us, and we will pass it along. Skyfox over the Southwest Freeway. Those are the outbound lanes with all the traffic. The feeder road right in front of Lakewood is closed off to civilian traffic while first responders maintain their presence. So much has been made here about the fact that this was
mortifying, you guys,
on a Sunday.
And she took a
day of worship.
5-year-old.
We have seen this so many times in places across the country and here in Texas, where worshipers found themselves face to face with someone with a gun who had some sort of grudge and decided that whatever their problem was, the only way to handle it was through this kind of violence. Among the many, many questions that we'll struggle with, because we've tried to ask and we don't get answers real easily. So we will struggle with this one as well. What goes on in people's head that they think that this is okay? It's not. A woman is dead, struggling with some sort of demons. We don't know. A 5-year-old child with her, critically injured. We don't know. We don't know what will happen to that child being cared for at the Texas Medical Center, where great doctors are working feverishly, hopefully, to save that child's life. And a 57-year-old man shot in the leg, shot in the hip, being treated at Ben Taub Hospital tonight. That's what we know. Happened just before 2 o'clock, in between services at Lakewood Church. Let's go to Abigail Dye. She was right next to that press conference as it happened. Abigail, any observations that you can share with us, please?
Chaotic still. There are so many units and police personnel and just so many people out here trying to piece everything together. I mean, luckily, it seems like the threat is gone. You know, police are telling us that the threat has been eliminated, but it doesn't mean that the work is over here. They still have so many things to piece together, so many questions to answer. We'll show you a little bit. This is right here where we had that press conference earlier. We have several law enforcement officers gathered up. And as we kind of pan left over the scene, you can see that we have fire personnel here. You know, we did have to transport those 2 victims, the 57-year-old male and that 5-year-old boy, to the hospital. 5 years old or in that age range. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to think that something like that could happen at a church. And we are here on the west end of the church, where police say that the suspect entered the church. So if you look at the church from the west end here, you can see the big letters spelling out Lakewood Church. And we do believe that the suspect vehicle is over here just out of view behind some crime scene tape. And this is still a very active crime scene. Now, some other just interesting things about this suspect in this case. Police say that she did enter the church with a trench coat on. Just a very scary picture in your head there, entering the church with a trench coat on, a long rifle in hand, backpack on, and that young child in tow. And police say that at one point, we don't know if it's before or after she was shot, when she communicated this, but at one point she said that she had a bomb in that backpack. Now, police say at this point they haven't found any explosives, but they are carefully searching that vehicle, that backpack, the church, just trying to figure out where that threat came from. Now, again, that woman is now dead. Officers shot her, and that child was shot as well. And at this point, it's not clear what gunfire that child was hit by, because it is believed that the child who was hit was the child that she brought into the church with her. And so, like I said, it's unclear what gunfire this child was hit by, but police say no matter what gunfire that child was hit by, it is this woman's fault. I mean, it's hard to find a word other than evil to describe bringing a child with you to commit a shooting in a church on Sunday during a service. I mean, I have chills just thinking and talking about it. And like I said, I mean, out here, the job is far from over. We are still just piecing everything together. The motive is something that we will not know for a long time, if ever, because the suspect is deceased. And we have these law enforcement officers out here just keeping this scene calm, keeping it secure, and keeping it safe. Police assured us that their response was very quick. Within minutes, they were here at this church, and that suspect was down and the threat was mitigated. And again, we are still trying to figure out if there is an explosive anywhere. At this point, police say there's not. They've searched that vehicle. They are still searching the church. They searched that backpack, and no explosives have been found. We're not exactly sure why that suspect would threaten that, but like we've been echoing here, Tom, we're not exactly sure why any of this would happen in the first place. But again, very active scene here on the west side of Lakewood Church, where police say that suspect entered and is now deceased, with that 5-year-old boy and 57-year-old man in the hospital. We'll be sure to stay on top of this story and get updates on their conditions as soon as we have them. And Tom, we'll stay right here on scene and continue to gather information for you. I'll send it back to you for now.
As he could. Jason, we're thankful that you're there. Want to know what the latest is from your vantage point.
A lot of people are actually just leaving the church or the area near the church where they evacuated to after this incident. I just met this mother and 2 children. She says her English isn't that great, but this young man, I think, can speak English. What's your name?
Ethan.
Ethan, describe what you heard in the church.
So we heard some bangs, and then our teacher. I was in a dance group in the chapel in church when I heard some gun shooting. Well, I didn't hear it. My teacher said she heard some, and then we ran into like the bathroom. But there's a hallway that leads to the bathroom, and I peeked out the windows and I saw cops coming. So I knew there was something inside the church that would do damage to us. So my dance group ran into the bathroom, and all we had to defend ourselves is a knife, a box cutter, and a wooden and some wood to block the doors.
Ethan, I'm so sorry you had to deal with this. I doubt you've ever heard a gunshot.
Poor
is that what
little
it sounded
guy.
like, or did it sound like a balloon popping, or what?
It sounded like gunshots.
Did you ever expect anything like this at church?
No.
What do you think of all the police who came?
I was kind of nervous because when I came out, my sister wasn't with my mother yet, and we had to wait 30 minutes until my sister came.
What's your sister's name?
Adeline.
Is she okay?
Yes.
Emotional time, huh, Mom?
Yeah, it's hard for my family. Never, nunca teníamos esa experiencia.
Yes, she never had that experience.
Cesar, my photographer, translating on the fly here for me. She never experienced anything like that. Have you gone to Lakewood a long time?
Yes, for 22 years.
22 years coming to Lakewood.
Yes.
Will you come back?
Yes, sure. I am Christian. Yo creo en Dios y sé que Él nos va a cuidar siempre.
She believes in God. She's a Christian, and she will be back to Lakewood. Thank you, Ethan and Mom and Sister. I hope you're okay, okay? I know it's a scary afternoon, but police are here and everything's secure, and hopefully you guys can make it home safely. Thank you very much. Again, we're at Richmond and Timmins.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Oh my God, for a little guy like that, have to hide because a woman yet, is armed in their church. Oh my word, guys. Beyond heartbreaking. So let's see here. I'm not finding. I think our coverage is pretty much limited at this point. Let me see here. Let's take a look over here.
We are now, this was just before 2 o'clock, so 2.5, well, almost 3 hours into this. 3.5 hours into this. So much work yet to be done. Slow zoom into the doorway there at Lakewood Church. Nothing of great note to be able to discern there.
We had a press
We
conference
do know
earlier.
that the woman's vehicle, suspected vehicle, is parked right at the curb into the doorway at the main entrance
Oh,
to
thank
Lakewood
you
Church.
so much. Thank you,
That's
Tracy.
there it is. That's Sky Fox over the scene right there. This is the vehicle the woman drove in to the church, we are told. The doors are open. They have been searching it. My guess is that there was first a robot inspection to make sure that there was nothing of immediate danger. And then they'll go through and try to get what clues they can. Who was this woman? Was she a member of the congregation here at Lakewood? Was she not? Was she trying to find somebody there? Was it just a source of her angst? So many questions. We don't know the answers to them. It's part of the investigation right now, but this is evidence. This is part of the crime scene, that vehicle right there. And inside, where the woman laid now dead after she opened fire and was shot by security guards, TABC agent, and an HPD officer working extra duty. They engaged her immediately. Her backpack is part of the evidence. And maybe, hopefully, if that child survives, maybe the child can offer some insight into what maybe the woman said.
She
what
brought
clues she might have
the
offered.
child. Oh my God.
This is the surrounding area around Lakewood, and what is nice and encouraging to see is that there is not urgency among the people who are now walking around. As terrible as this was, as terrible as this is, and the indelible mark it will leave on the psyche of so many
A
people.
woman and
There
she
is
brought her
not immediate
5-year-old
danger
child.
right now, and that is the encouraging thing that we can take away from this, if anything, as we try to work through what happened. Okay.
Hey, friend.
All right, we want to go to Ruben Dominguez, who we understand he has had some contact with. Ruben, we understand someone who was reunited.
Yeah, Tom, that's right. Just a few minutes ago, we were out here at the corner of Timmins and Richmond. If you see way behind me here, you have the Southwest Freeway Lakewood Church behind me. That is where that news conference that you were talking about wrapped up a short time ago. We made our way back here to the intersection where we caught up with some folks that were reunited, not because they had been separated, but a lady that had heard about the shooting, saw it on the news, came down here because she knew that her friends were in the church. They were actually part of the worship group getting ready to take part in the celebration in the 2 o'clock mass. And we had a chance to talk to her. Take a listen. Just saw you reuniting here with this your family?
They're part of the worship team, yes.
How did you guys get separated?
I wasn't here. We were at our church, and they're the worship team. They were singing when the incident happened.
How happy were you to see that they were all right, that they were safe?
Great. They just don't have their purse or phones or nothing. So that was so difficult. They were communicating by another person's phone. So it was like...
I'm glad you guys are all right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tom, you had mentioned how many people, you just the trauma of being inside a venue at one of the largest churches in the United States when gunfire breaks out. If you can imagine not knowing what's going on. And we did see a lot of people who were visibly shaken when we arrived here about an hour ago, waiting to be picked up, waiting for a loved one. So seeing folks to reunite and actually some tears of joy was definitely a good thing. The scene right now, most of the people that, as I said just a couple of seconds ago, that have been out here either waiting for a loved one, coming out of the LA Fitness, the Lifetime Fitness, have pretty much all gone home. It's dissipated, and things are pretty calm at the moment. But we're going to keep an eye out and see if we can catch up to any more folks that were in the building or had family members or had just possibly been reunited. Right now, we're live outside of Lakewood Church. Ruben Dominguez, Fox 26 News.
Hey, Ruben, before you go, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
So we were looking at the view from Skyfox, people milling about, and I was making just kind of the observation that the fact that there wasn't this terrible urgency is probably a good sign that the immediate danger has passed. As you see these people, as you talk to these people, certainly this will leave an indelible mark on them. But for the moment, tell me, I get the sense that they're just grateful to be okay right now.
Absolutely. And again, a lot of the folks that were here just an hour ago when we arrived, you saw a lot more of that kind of like that tense look and of not knowing and what just happened among some of the folks that were waiting to be picked up. But right now, and I think the mayor said it right at the top of the news conference, the response by multiple departments, by law enforcement to get out here, get this scene under control, make sure everything was moving in an orderly fashion, I think has contributed a lot to there isn't that sense of like you said, urgency or nervousness among folks. They know that, the shooter, that's over. And again, most of the people have been reunited, and everyone we see now kind of going about their business, definitely a very different scene than just 1 hour ago. In fact, this was all lined with police cars, and you can see some of them pulling away. We've got Harris County sheriffs moving away. I just saw Constable Al Rosen just a couple of minutes ago. Actually said hello to him as he was here at the light and headed back to his part of town. We see some Houston Fire Department personnel starting to leave the scene, and as you mentioned, they're making probably that last sweep through the building right now.
I have to agree.
And
it's funny, as you said it, I was thinking it. So I don't know. She takes what, a 5-year-old child to go do something like this, and then ends up possibly deleting her own child, having her own child deleted. It's just like, what the mother truck is going on in people's minds? So yeah, let's see if we've got now Super Bowl, right? Just starting. So let's just hope that everything goes well. with that because I mean, it's scary. I wouldn't be there. And I mean, I love Vegas, but no, not in a million years would I be going there. Things are just too sideways with the world right now. I'm not interested in crowds. So, guys, thanks for joining me so quickly. That was just kind of fast. I was looking through and I was like, what? So, got to the computer as fast as I could so I could share this with you guys. Is there any updates? Hi, Mom. Not so much. They were basically winding down. We don't know. We know that the one male, I think, what did they say? 57 passed away. The person that did this was a woman, and she brought her 5-year-old child, and she was eliminated, and the 5-year-old child was seriously injured and might not make it. So it's just, oh my word, so sad. So like I said, now let's just hope everything with this football game goes good. This is enough. This is more than enough. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming over and joining me. I appreciate you guys. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and definitely hit that bell because we see how things can happen super fast and we don't want to miss anything. We've got a great crew, so let's make sure we all know what's happening. Okay, guys. Well, let's just hope that little guy survives because this has got nothing to do with him. He doesn't need to be passing because his alleged mother is a dickwad. Like, come on. So may the other fellow rest in peace. And if anything else shows up, like I said, I will be on top of it. Thanks for joining me. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.